Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and as you guys know, I sometimes post throwbacks over at the Rockfin, and what I'll do is I'll go through some older videos that I did, and I'll say, alright, well let's put that one up because it's relevant right now. Now, normally I do that for premium subscribers. It helps the people that support me. It also shows people that I've been in this fight for a very long time. And the clip we're going to play right now, as far as I can tell, from when they scroll to my old blog, is from August of 2009. So somewhere in the realm of almost 11 years ago, almost 12 years ago, right? Almost, not quite 12 years ago, almost 12 years ago, okay? And basically what we're going over is the H1N1 scare. Now, H1N1 was actually influenza B in 2019-2020. We've also gone over that. I have to be very careful here because what we discuss in this clip almost mirrors exactly some of the things that are now coming to fruition. So what am I talking about? At the time they were talking about this swine flu, we've played in the past Meredith Vieira actually discussing how they were trying to sell you on 3 separate shots at that point over a decade ago. And then, you know, they just felt like people would not put up with that. And also the infrastructure wasn't there where you could kind of ease people into shutting their businesses down because you could just give them everything and some people could telework. It just wasn't a possibility. But what I really want to hammer home is the point in the video when we start talking about knock and talks. And instead of contact tracers, it's the National Guard, and they run a very realistic drill of knocking on doors, getting people into vehicles, bringing them to a facility, and getting shots in their arm. And that mirrors almost exactly what Andrew Cuomo said not long ago, last week. Okay? So I want to say this right now. I think I'm kind of being a little dangerous playing this on YouTube, but from the outset, I'm not giving any medical information. What is striking is when we talked about that outbreak, it was H1N1. It was like 4 different parts, right? I think it also had H5N1, and they were talking about the swine flu. And it was also a novel virus, right? And the other thing that's interesting is when they did the Event 201, right? What was it? The outbreak was from a novel coronavirus from South America and a pig. And that was the precursor to the actual COVID-1984 outbreak. So before we get going, I want you to thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Check it out, guys. So I did this video on the Bohemian Grove, right? And now you get context for and a lot of this context is stuff we went over in the video. Just wild times. So if you are not subscribed yet on YouTube and you're watching on YouTube, please come on over and subscribe. It's got a ton of great stuff. All my documentaries are free here, although I just posted Invisible Empire in the highest quality over at Rockfin. And that's one of those films that you might have to watch 2 or 3 times and then look into the side information because it is extremely dense. There's also an exclusive from yesterday. I may post a little piece of that on YouTube where I interview with John Paul Rice for an hour. I still have my Magnus interview I'm going to post, and then I'm going to let Allison Morrow have another couple days with her post on mine before I post basically the same video in my block. And I want to thank Allison for having me on the show. I thought we had a lively 90-minute conversation. And again, I'm glad that she, allowed me to basically explain my point of view because, look, this clip we're going to watch, this is from me at InfoWars 12 years ago, almost 12 years ago, talking about things that are coming to fruition now. So if you haven't seen the films, and you want to understand where I'm coming from, Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. Please, they're all there. And if you want to support me, we got the GoFundMe down below. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start playing this bad boy. And here I am as a much younger gentleman. Let's just start going. Now, first thing we're going to start talking with these guys is they're going to be talking about legislation that's being passed for mandatory shots and opposing it then. We're seeing it across the board. People are sending me stuff all over now that their job is mandating it. And, of course, Fauci is calling for local mandates.
We've actually been able to actually get some of these senators who have voted for it to issue statements saying that they will not support it in the fall, and that they're and so we've actually had some good positive responses as a result of our work. Not so much me personally, but a lot of our members out west, especially in Western Mass, have done a lot of great work. Some people out in Boston. We're all divided up in a district, and I would urge your callers in Massachusetts to go to masslpa.org, join up, download the flyers and the trifolds we have, and get involved in this thing, because it looks like they are trying to do something here.
Well, sir, we have the website up on the prisonplanet.tv right now, and I thank you for the call. I do urge everybody in that area to alert your neighbors, and this does look like a good organization and a great way to get the word out, because, you know, they're trying, again, the guy was asking me, well, what do I do? Well, they're going to try to claim international law, but they're building the infrastructure so it's also state law. It's federal law, okay? Local government's going to come at you. They want all of their bases covered.
Let me just stop it right there. This whole thing has been based in World Health Organization, even on this platform, just pointing that out, YouTube, in international law. And now they are covering their bases top to bottom to local mandates and local law.
They want to be able to claim multiple jurisdictions over you. Look, you're your own jurisdiction. You're your own free human being. You're your own entity. Your child is yours. It is not the state's. All right? You need to know what to do and how to step up to the plate and take action if this hysteria turns into much, much more. And they're spending billions and billions of dollars in infrastructure to make sure that it is much, much more. All right, let's go to Jeff in Texas. Jeff.
Before we go to Jeff in Texas, look, these people are patient, and we're patient. And this was kind of a dry run. Wait till we start talking about the drills they were running then. Okay?
If you're online.
Hi, Jason. Quick bit of swine flu news in the magazines. I was downtown Austin at the Whole Foods World Headquarters, and on the magazine rack was an audaciously named magazine called Mental Floss, a magazine for thinkers. The magazine was a joke, but what I want to point out was that there was a big article titled How to Win Friends and Inoculate People. And it was all about how the U.S. Navy is going to be sending their hospital ships out to foreign ports, not with soldiers and guns, but with nurses and doctors and vaccinations.
Oh, it's because, again, it's a lot easier for people to line up to roll up their sleeves than to line up at a shooting range and be gunned down. Yeah, does it take, 10 or 20 years to take them out with a soft kill weapon? It does, but we're willing to be that patient if they're willing to be that docile and come over and say, please give me the sickness. I thank you for the call, Jeff. Let's go to Arthur in Massachusetts. Arthur, you're on the line.
I already said Alex broke in with my first one. I left with a call there. The next one here is the CDC, their definition for the novel H1N1 flu. It's novel. It broke out, April 2009 in the U.S. Well, and it refers to, scientists call this a quadruple reassortment virus. Come from 4 different things. I think when you mentioned it before, it's like 3 different ways.
Well, let me say 3, because I believe it's 2 parts H1N1, 1 part H5N1, and 1 part human flu. So I guess if you want to break it down, it is 4, but it's 2 parts of swine flu, 1 part bird flu, 1 part human flu, correct?
There's 4 separate parts.
So which one is the 4th? Are you saying that what's the 4th separate part? If it's not,
you can get it right. This is what the CDC's definition, what they have on their site, which is very interesting. And what this lets me to get, with this thing being actually, you had the antivirus that came up years ago, where they got the patent coming on it. That's kind of serious. Like they released that. Well, what do they really have to release if that was the preliminary?
Well, you know what? Let's go over, I thank you for the call, what they originally said. They said, this is, coming from Mexico. It's pig flu. We need to worry. Then they couldn't find any pigs with it in Mexico. Then the first case of a pig having this quote-unquote swine flu virus occurred in Canada. And then they tried to blame it on this Mexican migrant worker that made it all the way up there. Now, when this little CFR queen went on the Colbert Report, and we got to pull that one too. Look for Colbert and swine flu. It's that woman that had the cover of Newsweek with the piggy sticking out, and she calls Lou Dobbs a racist, and then she says that the swine flu didn't come from Mexico. And I don't believe it did come from Mexico, but then she doesn't allude to where it really did come from. She tries to say the United States, but they didn't find any pigs with swine flu in the United States. It's complete made-up nonsense. And, of course, she's fear-mongering that everybody needs to take this thing.
So let's stop. Think about that. In this dry run, just like we heard it was a bat and then a pangolin, it was a pig. Notice how they threw racism in even then, because Lou Dobbs was alluding to it being from Mexico, and then, of course, it was bigoted. Now, think about that in regards to the coronavirus, right, COVID-19, and calling it the quote-unquote China virus, and then you're a bigot and a racist as well. Okay? So we get into more about the biowarfare in this clip. Again, 12 years ago. By the way, not even 100 thumbs up. Can we get the thumbs up? And then we're also going to be talking about basically gain of function, souping up viruses, okay, chimeric viruses.
All right. So she's on the Council on Foreign Relations. She wants everybody to take the shot. She calls Lou Dobbs a racist. She makes fun of, I believe it was the head of Health and Human Services in India or something like that, something very close. This person in India thinks the government did it. Or the Jews. They love throwing the J word around. You know, this woman had nothing to do with saying the Jews did the swine flu. No, she said, this looks like a bioweapon made up in a lab. You're not allowed to say that.
Direct to you.
So again, and that was a real thing. This is like one video out of like an hour series. I'm going to see if I can't find the rest of it. But we're going to continue because, again, you had these officials in India saying this looks man-made and like a bioweapon then. And again, what was thrown around? Oh, you're an anti-Semite.
And in your face. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Old school, baby.
We are back, folks. It is the swine flu extravaganza here on the Info Warrior with Jason Burmis. We're taking your calls. And before we go to Sherry in Texas, Mark, Travis, Dave, and Lee, I want to read this one out of New York. York Education. Rally to host flu shots. Serve as an emergency drill. Yes! The clinic will also serve as a live drill for the city's point of distribution plan. This is as real as you can make a drill, said David L. Hawk, the City Bureau of Health's medical director. This would also have all York residents responding to William Penn Senior High School. The county is working on plans in other school districts. The Office of Emergency Management in York County said that schools were chosen as sites because people are familiar with their locations and they have bus routes.
So what have we done right now? Schools have become locations. There are bus routes. Again, and we're going to get into the knock-in talks and brings. So if anybody thinks that the infrastructure wasn't being worked on, okay, was being even more than just white papered. It was actually being war gamed. There were dry runs. This is the real deal now. You get it?
Bus routes. See, they can just bust you in. You get that knock on the door from your local National Guard. Hey now, guy, you know, he's going to come there. Hey, ma'am, how you doing? Look, we're just rounding everybody up for the swine flu. We got the bus there, and it looks like, according to my paperwork, that you haven't taken your shot yet. I'd like you to go get your 4-month-old baby and your husband if you could, and we're going to get on this little bus here. Don't worry, everything will be over in just a couple of hours. It'll be very, very quick. This is the first live drill that will take place September 19th, and thought of using the plan to distribute the swine flu shot everywhere if needed. We are in this drill on September 19th. They're looking to do a minimum of 1,000 shots. Meanwhile, it has mercury in it, and it gives people Gillian's Bear. And Gillian's Bear, folks, as weird, and I mean, it sounds kind of like Wade Boggs. You know, if Wade Boggs wasn't a person, it's kind of Gillian Bear. You know, just like this crazy disease that you don't want.
You know, I actually cracked that same joke last night. Somebody had said something sounds like something. I'm like, yeah, but Hall of Fame baseball player Wade Boggs sounds like a vicious disease. See, I try to keep it light, as dark as this is. And when we talked about Guillain-Barré then, and I'm not talking about that in regards to now, but when they did do those Roundup 1970s swine flu shots, a lot of people came down with that. Okay? And I was mispronouncing it then because I'm not perfect. And at the same time, we're about to get into kind of like the biological warfare aspect of this and how we discussed it even then. Think about that. We were discussing these things even then, and the mainstream media is still so far behind, still talking about leaks.
You don't know how crazy it is. I would rather be dead than be a quadriplegic. Okay? If I can't use my arms and I can't use my legs and the only thing that's running is my mouth, it will be a cold day in hell for Jason Bermas. I don't think I could live like that, folks. I really don't. We'll get to some of the other local articles in a moment, but let's go to Sherry in Texas. Sherry online. Yes, Sherry.
I called C-SPAN on June 29th when they had Peter Brooks on from the Heritage Foundation. And
So, listen, June 29th, Heritage Foundation. If you want to dig this video up, it's June 29th, 2009. I'm thinking about digging this up and listening to this woman put this guy on the spot about biowarfare and Baxter International and that scandal, okay? That's what she's going to discuss.
apparently he's like some kind of bioweapons expert. And I asked him about the Baxter incident, and he totally, of course, denied knowledge of it and said that the problems with bioweapons, and then he changed it and said biotechnology is that it's so pervasive. And then another woman called in right after that and reminded him of the Department of Defense receiving money to dig up the 1918 flu to, basically reconstruct it, And then Dr. Carley called in and gave him the real facts about it and gives reference to another video that PBS did that had Terrence Tumpy from the CDC literally pretty much admitting that he wanted to take the H5 component of avian flu, which is super deadly, and then put it in with the H1 from the H1N1 swine flu.
No, I've seen that. That's the PBS where that's what from the 90s, right? That PBS specials from the 90s where they're discussing.
In 2002, it really started taking off, though. The real research did, because I think they've done 2 expeditions, I think, to dig it up.
Look, this CFR woman on Colbert trying to claim that pigs are mixing vessels, and that
that's ridiculous.
And not only is it ridiculous, she also tries to claim that pigs in the United States are the ones that originated the swine flu. We don't have one case of a pig in the United States having it.
We haven't found a single case of that.
No, not at all.
I mean, it's like Munchausen syndrome. It's like Munchausen syndrome. When someone has Munchausen syndrome by proxy, they hurt their children to get attention or to get what they want. By using their child. And I think the government's kind of doing that with us right now.
No, they're absolutely
like
doing that with us.
Syndrome.
Yeah, it is a lot like that, only they're also going to make a profit on top of it. I thank you, Sherry. And you know what? Let's get into that right now. This is on MSN Money. Let's see. Mayan Labs going to make a profit. Teva Pharmaceuticals, Sanofi Aventis, Novavax Incorporated, BioCryst Pharmaceuticals, and others going to make quite a bit on this. And, some of these articles are also saying, hey, take the Tamiflu as well, even though they admit the Tamiflu ain't going to help you one little bit. It's about the scratch and the power, baby. We'll be back after this. It's the Info War.
Look at that young Info Warrior. Huh? So, come on, guys. I watched that. It kind of gave me chills on how accurate you would see that as a precursor. So people have to understand, none of this is new. What we're going through right now is not by chance, and this is the takeover. We got to fight it. Can I get over 100 thumbs up on YouTube? Hopefully this video is not going to get flagged. I don't know why it would. We didn't give any medical misinformation. We really didn't weigh much on actual COVID 1984 news at all, other than the fact that the parallels of what they pre-gamed over a decade ago and the narratives they were giving then were very, very similar. So again, thumbs it up, subscribe and share. Remember, we've had the channel taken away twice. And then magically I got it back. I'd love for you guys to at least subscribe if you're not there. Check out all the videos. The playlist section right there has all my documentaries for free. You know, we talked a little MK Ultra, right? Way back in the day. If you haven't seen my MK Ultra playlist, that's a great place to start. But there are so many exclusive videos right now, free exclusives, by just making an account and following Jason Bermas over at the Rockfin. I don't know why you're not supporting me there. I'm trying to get to 30,000 strong. Let's get the Bermas Brigade up to 30K over there. And if you do want to support me there, we do have, you know what, I want to say this. We do have a new year-long subscriber. These people help so much. Let's shout them out. And Julie Canesini, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Whenever you guys subscribe, and Anachan, you just came in and subscribed as well. Didn't do the year, but you save $20 if you do the yearly. And it helps creators like me continue to do this on a daily basis, many times over. And, you know, create content that I don't have to censor myself. It sucks that I couldn't say exactly what I wanted in this broadcast. But I want to reach people. I want to bring people over. And again, Allison Morrow, we spoke for 90 minutes. Go check out the uncensored version over on the Rockfin and so much more. Guys, I love you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the flip.